Hello and welcome to the Vintage Computing Christmas Challenge 2022. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So what is this challenge about? You had to implement this star exactly with the same shape, using stars. You could delete the screen, but you didn't have to, and after the program is done, you should have exactly the same shape without any additional characters. Well, that's approximately it. At the end, the size of the program would be measured and compared, and you should have the shortest code if possible. There also was a wide challenge where you didn't have to care about the size, but where you would maybe try to make a small demo or some animation using the star. Altogether, there were over 200 submissions, and because of that, I would suggest that we just start with the first few entries. As you might have noticed, there are 195 entries in the main compo for the Christmas store. The first entries have been rather long maybe, but there were also very special entries in special languages or also in modern languages which use more space, especially as far as source code is concerned, for example C. Or you have seen languages like Brain. This language looks very interesting, but it is very hard to understand, especially if you only look at the source code. Yeah. Let's see the next few entries then. These were some more entries for several home computers and other machines. The sizes of the programs become smaller already. And now let us look into some wild entries. So these were most of the wild entries. Some of them used different characters instead of star, some made the star more beautiful, some added animation, and well, we will look into one or the other of these later on. Maybe now it's a good time to have a look into the matter how to implement this star. There is many possibilities. Of course, we cannot look into each code separately. I would recommend you to do it on your own. Select the code which suits you, select the language, the system you like, select a short entry if you know the language very well, select maybe a longer entry if you say I still want to study the language and I will understand the longer code easier. But what did people think when they have been implementing this star? Well, one approach was to program this star line by line. You have 17 lines, and then you could just print out the star line by line. You could have some logic which will tell you or which will calculate is there a space or is there a star, and this should be some kind of magic formula, however you want to call it. Another approach would to look if the star has some kind of mirroring, so you only have to code parts of it and the rest is done kind of automatically. You could see that it mirrors vertically. You could see that it mirrors horizontally, so there is a left half and a right half. You could combine these and say, well, yeah, I have 4 equal parts. You could go even further and say, okay, I have 8 pieces of a cake, for example, and these are kind of rectangles, and if you mirror these rectangles, you would have 16 triangles. Yeah, there is a lot you can see within this shape, and the show even goes on. You could see triangles, something which many people have seen. Yeah, so there is 4 triangles within this star. Well, there is many triangles in the star, but you could see these 4 triangles with a height of 13 characters, and then you would paint just one and mirror the other ones, which would save some bytes. You could see the triangle a little bit different, and you could also see this strange shape, which is like a rectangle with a small triangular hole. Yeah, there is really very many possibilities you had, and well, that would influence the way how you could code the program. Right now you have seen some interesting programs, some of which ran on real hardware. Others ran on multiple platforms, and others were coded in machine language, meaning you had to type in the program using numbers and not using a higher language. In fact, it's very important what kind of language you use, because the platform or the language sometimes offers you a way to position the cursor on an exact position, others do not. And those commands can give you some extra bytes or not, depending on which machine you are coding. Now coming up 3 entries for the wild combo. One from Mud Builds for the belly of Astrocat, JOSIP for the C64, and Mick for the Oric. and two more white entries, White Star coded on the IBM 5110 and Pepe coded a game. The last entries were full of entries for the Commodore, for Atari, for the BBC, for the BK. Who do you think is gonna win the race? Who will have the shortest entry? Next up, you're gonna see a very modern platform where you only need 2 bytes for the star. Or should I say 2 cuts? Let's look into this basic entry in detail, because this basic entry is the best one of this compo. It uses the random function and the sign function. With the random function, it can find the 4 different rectangles it's drawing by random. Moreover, the sign function is used to mirroring the rectangles, which is very special because I was already thinking how to do that, and this is really a very effective way, which sadly isn't that efficient on the Commodore 64. This entry actually became third X-Acro with another entry. It's done on the BK computer, which is a compatible of the PDP11. Unfortunately, I don't speak this assembly language and I don't speak Russian, so I still try to show you how this actually looks like in action. This entry by Peter de Wachter, written in APL, a programming language for the IBM 5110, long time looked like the winner. It's a very interesting program, totally short, and that's why I'd like to look into it a little bit more. First of all, there is an emulator by Norbert Kehrer, which is done very well, but I have to say it's rather difficult to use because you have to search for the keys rather long, and therefore I prefer another solution, which is following homepage. It's Try APL. Here you can program a little bit easier. You have the bar where you can select the commands, and so let's try how the program works or looks like. Here is the program from Peter de Wachter, and when we run it we get a star, and the fantastic thing about this program is you can say, well, I want to have a bigger star, just change one number and you get a bigger star. Yeah, let's try to make the star smaller. Everything works out of the box. And this approach is really absolutely logical. I might try to explain it a little bit in more detail, but this would be too much for this presentation. Just that you know, actually here he is creating a vector, so to say, yeah, which actually goes up to here, and then he will multiply the vector with itself, or better said, the minus vector of itself, and this actually will lead to the star. And because this is only a vector of true and false, 0 and 1, he is adding a 1, so you have 1 and 2, and you select the first and the second character, which actually will give the star. Yeah, sounds a little bit complicated. It should be explained a little bit more. But well, what I did is playing around with it a little bit, and let me show you one program I did for this language. It's sadly a little bit longer, but it's the shortest I could get. And when you run this program, we get a Christmas tree from last year. And well, we have a winner. Dr. Beep implemented 2 programs which ranked first and second. Congratulations! I talked to him a little bit and he explained me some stuff, like he has some hidden command where he reuses another command, and he saves a byte by looping more often than necessary, and well, a fantastic, comprehensive, short program. So that's it about the compo. I want to say thank you to everybody who took part. There have been many nice discussions and so on. Thanks to sponsors. There will be 5 K&A Plus issues people will get as in PDF, and someone will get this calendar. You will get contacted by these persons respectively. So I wish you a very good time. Merry Christmas once more, and have a happy New Year. Bye.